start.
Welcome once more, my colleagues. I know you've now come from a long break and we can start. From where we finished, you remember I said that this is a teacher module, which is purposely to help the teacher and the learner to understand themselves better in this very important process of the CBE journey of the curriculum entitled Developing the Power of Career Guidance and Counseling. Before I start, I want you to revisit what I said in the overview of modules. Then from there, we can go on well. Having done that, I want us to look at who exactly are in this lecture forum. Remember, this is a directed tutorial discussion. We are to look at where are our children going after school and what are they to do and how are they to do it. So this talk is going to beg for 4 key questions. The first one is who. The second one is what, W-H-A-T. The third one is how. And the last one is why. So it is up to the teacher to help the learner right away from the age of 12 up to the age of 20 to understand well his or her career after school. And these will avoid so many things like what we have seen in the recent past, students throwing stones to teachers and teachers throwing stones to students or to the learners, simply because to some point, some of these children have not understood why they go to school. So as teachers and learners, I want us to invite the following friends in our lecture forum so that they can listen to this directed tutorial discussion. I invited them in the first part, that was the introduction. And now as we start the first module, I also want to invite some more. And make sure that if you are in the hall, the first meeting, you also be in this one. It is very crucial. And the following should not miss in the hall. Number 1, the researchers. Number 2, the writers. Number 3, the teachers. Number 4, the video shooters, especially from media houses. Number 5, the publishers of literature and especially CGC materials, career guidance and counseling. Apart from that, the following professors should not miss. They are my close attaches. I've worked with them far and wide in the world of academia. The first one is Professor Monica Mweseli, Department of Literature, University of Nairobi. The second one is Professor Austin S.L. Bukenya, my very great friend. I was with him in Makerere University 2004, some years back. The third one is Professor David Mulwa, Theatre Arts Specialist. The fourth one is Professor Igara Kabaji, And the last one is Professor Vicky Hassandi, Dean, Laikipia University. Fine. This talk will be guided by the following key terms in line of strength and applications. Number one, the capacity to think is the capacity to understand. Remember, I said that for you to qualify to attend this lecture in this lecture forum, remember the type of discussion is called directed tutorial discussion. This one is involving all the teachers, all the learners, all the parents, all the stakeholders, and the custodians of curriculum guidance and counseling in the universities, the department of, or rather the so-called chaplains. They also have to be there, but attend to it in the following manner. Number one, give me your undivided attention. Number two, lend me your ears. Number three, because a good learner is a good listener, have enough writing material. Have two blue pens for writing, one red pen for underlining, and one black pen for writing your analysis. Then four, at the end of this talk, I invite you to our wall, that is YouTube at Josibi Works, to comment as follows. One, share with us your feelings, your emotions, your ideas, your questions, your corrections, your constructive criticism, etc., etc. This talk is meant to identify, train, and upgrade the career guidance and counseling specialists, so that as we proceed with our CBE learning after the 844, which is to end next year, our children will be aware as to who they are, what they go to school to do, how they are supposed to behave in school, because that will avoid the issue of burning schools and striking aimlessly. And lastly, why they have to take on a needed career course. That is through the choices, as we shall see in this talk. So this talk, before I begin the first module, all are invited. Only share on our wall and subscribe and share with your youths in your houses at the same time. This talk is inviting the main consumer as the teacher and the specific consumer as the learner. Then the general public is invited as parents and stakeholders of education, because almost all of them take their children to school. This talk is developed by the following keywords as I had started. One, the capacity to think is the capacity to understand. Two, the time for thinkers has come. Though empires fall, the pen shall reign forever. Three, Literature is the language of education. Therefore, the language is the message. That is why culture should be upheld and respected. Another one, you cannot remove error by using the effects of error. Instead, you need standpoints like where, what, how, and why to detect the matter. You review as a teacher. Reviewing means you look at the critical matter. And this is where, as teachers, we are expected to be role models. Then we don't need to forget, it is the ideal that makes the real. It is the ideal that makes the real. And lastly, as teachers, we must explain to this learner that it is better to explore first before we exploit. So my friends, e.g. the long-serving dons in different universities that I've met with, I know many of you have read my different works, but as this talk goes on, I want to encourage the spirit of readership, which leads to leadership in the process of listening. So I invite all of you to get the following books first in front of you when we come for the second module, so that you will see what I'll be talking about. The first module, I want to address the teachers of linguistics and literature. And then the second module, I'll address the general public with references of the books that will support them understand what I'm talking about concerning career guidance and counseling. Because teaching and learning is a process that is supposed to help the student know, understand, and later do or apply, it is also important for the teacher to help the learner to know that it is important that the change is produced in his or her life. That is through CGC, career guidance and counseling. So the teacher must, not should, must explain the skills, the attitudes, and the behavior that contribute to indiscipline, like what we have seen in the last term's actions. So for the teachers of linguistics and literature, for the students of linguistics and literature from the universities and secondary school, the following books are key. If you don't have them, get a copy for yourself. We all know AI has contributed to laziness to many people, or rather cultivated laziness to many people. But how do you defend your originality as a teacher and a learner? So I'm looking at this from this format as I bring in all the teachers. I've been in many schools. Many principals are my friends. Many professors are my friends. I want us to imagine if today we were to be taken back to class, the question would be, have we read these books and what are we to get? To my research, it is crucial that the following key themes should not be forgotten by the writers and the publishers. for these will drain a gap to our youths. That's why I'm sending you to the following books so that you read. Mine being there, if you have not read mine, or if you have not gotten a copy of mine, I also encourage you that you search for it. Then you see, why am I emphasizing so much on creative writing and critical thinking? So these themes are rape, divorce, abortion, and malnutrition. That is what modern writers should think about. My friend Okwemba in KBC is doing very well with his program. He is really interviewing writers and scholars. But the question is, have we really gotten the rebirth of this term reconstructionism in creative writing? If we have not, then we have a journey to make. So the following books, as I finish introducing these, as I welcome you to sit, the following books should be in front of you as we begin Module 2. Then as we begin, I'll also give you more references to refer in CGC approaches, including Holland. So the first book, which you should not miss as a scholar, is by Uli. It's called African Poetry. If you are a teacher of literature or a student of literature, make sure that you have it in front of you. The second one is Chase M.E. Jewett and Evans W. The book is Values in Literature. The third one is Ruth Finnegan, Oral Literature of Africa. I just want to know, have you read them? Yes. Have you not read them? No. Please get a copy. That is why I'm saying, under career, detect a specific area. As a literature specialist, as a proficient literary scholar, that is the area I'll use as a sample section. Not to talk about literature per se, but to use it as my sample area of specialization to key in the career aspect, especially in teaching. Number 4, Lindfors and Midi Teki. The book is Research in African Literature. That's why I said literature is the language of education. And then the language is the message. Number 5 is Mapanja and White, Oral Poetry from Africa. I know you have also read more about Okumba Miruka, fine. But this time I want to direct you strictly to Mapanja and White, Oral Literature from Africa. Then another one is Mbiti J, Akamba Stories. As teachers, we must be equipped. We must be equipped. Then next, as I finish, Nowotny, the language poets use. That book is very important. That's why you go to a place, a student cannot refer to a poem and give it its analysis. We did it so well with Mr. Mushiri in Alliance High in 2006, during those days of Mr. Khaemba as the principal. and Mr. Mushiri as the head of department, Linguistics and Literature, Alliance High. You can refer. Boys of Alliance High 2006, don't miss in the hall. Please subscribe and join. Then another one, Okot PB Tech. Okot PB Tech. Artist Ruler. That is where I am holding now. Artist Ruler. If you read that book, you will be safe as a teacher of linguistics and literature. Another one is my own book, and I don't want any of you to miss. It is key. It is key. It is called J.S. Bwabi, Developing the Power of Academic Intelligence, published in 2024. It is so good. It talks about the empowerment of creative writing and all that behooves a student and a teacher. A proper recommendation from Professor Monica Mweseli, University of Nairobi, is there for support. Okot PB Tech, I've said you don't forget. The artist is the ruler. Then another one is Rodney W. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And lastly, Wathiongo N, or Wathiongo Ngugi Wathiongo. He wrote a very good book. Don't miss it. Decolonizing the Mind. If you know it well, if you read it well, then you will know why challenges are there, especially with our youths during the times of strikes and banning of schools. Why is it called decolonizing the mind? Fine, my fellow friends, let us now look at this module properly. Remember, it is meant to identify, train, and upgrade the CGC specialists. I invite once more the researchers, the writers, the teachers, the video shooters, the publishers, all the custodians of career guidance and counseling, and the policy makers to look at where the gap or the missing link is in this field of specialization. So hoping that you have had the introduction well, given you what makes one be a specialist in literature, add yours from the books that I've given, but don't miss those that I've mentioned, including mine. Let us now look at Module 1. Module 1. Remember, it is developing the power of career guidance and counseling. I know career guidance and counseling is there, but is this power developed? If this power is well developed, then why are we seeing these? For example, why should teachers throw stones to students if the truth is that these teachers understand the students? So from where I sit and from where you sit, I invite you once more as we start. So I'm looking at this module in this sense. What are the foundations of career guidance and counseling? Because we cannot talk about career guidance and counseling when we are not keen on how it's founded. So this module introduces the concept of CGC. You know, as a teacher, you must be keen with the concept, the content, and the context. And for you to be there, as I've said in many schools that I've gone as a guest speaker of CGC and poetry, so to speak, I've always told them of the teacher embracing the 3H. That is the heart, the head, and the hand, which should also be broadened to the learner. When you have the heart, you concentrate. When you have the head, you think. And when you have the hand, you act by writing well if you are a learner. And when you have the hand, you act by disciplining well when you are a teacher. So, this module introduces the concept of CGC and its critical role in shaping the future success of Kenyan secondary school learners. That is where I'm basing my interest. We need to look at these children right away from JSS, grade 6, around 12 years, up to the age of 20. That is when we shall be bringing in a generation that, apart from being intelligent, they have the talent, they have the hard work, and they have the success. That is what I've achieved in my researching day. As teachers and career custodians, you will gain knowledge on the theoretical underpinnings of CGC, with a particular focus on its relevance to the Kenyan education system. That is CBE. As we finish KCSE next year, the whole process will be under CBE. The question is, where is the missing link? Where are the gaps in CGC? It is not about literature, it's not about science, it is not about arts, it is CGC. So this module will also address the unique challenges and opportunities faced by Kenyan youth as they transition into the workforce, equipping you with the insights necessary to guide learners effectively in their career development. In other words, I'm saying this talk is supposed to be 55% teachers and 45% learners. Then the general public should also follow. Like sometimes when I'm in a PSV, I hear people say, teachers are the ones who are wrong, students are the ones who are wrong. They just talk what they know about why they feel students are banning schools, students are striking. That is that. But then the question is, who are you? Are you a parent? Are you a teacher? Then how do you contribute? So this module and the rest will give us approaches to add on what we already have as a department or custodians or policy makers. Not forgetting my best friend, Mr. Fidelis Nahulo, former national Kwaso boss I know now he has retired. He retired as a deputy director, a deputy national director, Kwaso. A very great friend of mine, a very good educational consultant, very, very experienced. I know he will tell you more about this. A very close friend and scholar of mine. So, what am I interested in? Let us look at learning objectives. Because I've told you that I'm interested in looking at the foundations of it, CGC. Like you go in a school, somebody tells you, I'm in charge of career, I'm in charge of guidance and counseling, fine. But then what are the learning objectives? So the learning objectives that we've found out, according to us, are as follows. 1, define career guidance and counseling and its significance in African education. African education. That's why I'm saying that AI has cultivated a lot of laziness to our people. So from the African point of view, we narrow it down to the Kenyan point of view. That is objective 1. Objective 2, explain the key structural and developmental theories of CGC, career guidance and counseling. Explain the key structural and developmental theories of CGC. That is what we need as teachers so that we can broaden it, then break it down into more smaller particles to our learners to understand. Another objective, identify the key challenges faced by CGC implementation in Kenyan schools and come up with mitigation strategies. Very important. Then another objective, analyze the importance of CGC in the teaching and learning process in Kenyan secondary schools. When I talk of Kenyan secondary schools, I'm talking about JSS, grade 6, that is roughly from the age of 12 up to Form 4, that is at the age of 20. So let us look at the model content. What is the content in this model? Hoping that all teachers are following, regardless of the subject they teach, or the grades, or the forms, or the universities they teach, especially the chaplains in different universities, because that is where they have more to put. So, module content. Module content. Defining CGC. Defining CGC. Explore the meaning. So the first one is defining CGC. Then explore the meaning, objectives, and benefits of CGC for learners in secondary schools. A friend of mine was telling me, Prof, Kenyans don't want printed books. The best you can do is speak to them online. Then I said, let me do it. This is what I'm doing. So I'll also look at how to discuss CGC equipments with learners with the knowledge, skills, and self-awareness necessary to navigate the unique challenges and opportunities presented by the global market, as well as theories that provide an understanding on how learners, career interests, and decisions evolve. It's very important. And how best to support them